All right, welcome back. Welcome back. This is another episode. A little green screen. Um, yeah, man. Welcome back today. It's been a great day. So I just want to always come out. This is Dynasty the podcast. I'm your host, Ira Bush. I just want to every time I do a show, I just want to tell everybody that I'm thankful for these opportunities to be able to speak, to be able to share light on anything going on in the world, anything that's on my mind, and anything that's important. So those are the things that I want to make sure I say every time. And I appreciate all the support, whether it's a lot, whether it's a little, whether it's one person, whether it's 1,000 people, whether it's a billion people. I'm gonna get there one day, and I'm just gonna make sure I keep putting in the work and putting in the time. Um, Today's title of the show is "Well Risking." Now, I want to break down that title, and I'm big on words. I'm big on just how people coming up in this society, and just how people try to you know put dim your light and dim your greatness. And I just want to say, well, risking, meaning go out there on a limb, go out there and be who you're going to be in life, and be out there and just make sure you go out there and just kind of like express yourself in all the ways, not just talking, by action, by whatever you're great at. And I'm big on like that fake well wishing, so I kind of put a spin on it, and I call it well risking. So just go out there on a limb and be. And when I say what fake well wishing is, like, it's a lot of doubt and haters out here that didn't accomplish what they wanted to be when they was younger, and they out here putting a lot of negativity in the air just based off what somebody else did, or what somebody thought they could do, or so I'm just gonna tell you, I'm trying to put light into the world, and just make sure y'all understand that's where I'm coming from. When and you just be happy who you are, and and it's always every day you can improve on what you're going to be or what you want to be. So just don't forget that. Today I got I'm just gonna start off with just like, it's not gonna be heavy politics, but I'm gonna go right into like I said, politically, what I'm gonna be talking about. I'm gonna do the executive. I'm gonna do the executive orders like I did yesterday, kind of speaking on like the titles of them. I'm not gonna go depth. I'm gonna actually go in depth because I got what it says, the description of them. I'm gonna read the ones that I already read and add some on, but I kind of want to like you know, I'm not trying to make fun of like what's going on with the executive orders, but I also don't want nothing to be legislated, and we have to still got stuff that that's in our the bylaws, or the I don't want to I'm gonna say it like this, the constitution being that what it is, and they are rewritten it over this time and put this in it, instead of just nobody should nobody should be considered one third of a human being just because of their color of the skin. And that's still in the writing of their bylaws, and they still haven't abolished that negative. I don't care what they rewrite, they didn't take it out. They added on. So that gets overlooked, that gets over. I don't want, and we in America, so I'm just speaking on, it might be small to y'all, and like, so the way I look at it, we got to still be aware of these things. I know what my people have done for me to not be considered one third of a human being. I don't care what they make it out to be. I know I'm considered a whole being. I don't care if that it says black on mine. I know what I really am. So, I know my family did a lot of work and put a lot of time in generations on generations, and I have to make sure I uphold the standard of what we are in my family. And I try to spread as much information as I can that I have available in America, so I don't get out here And you know, they like to do so much things to stop you from speaking and stop you from being great. So, you know, that's all for me when it comes to that. Now, today I'm gonna be I have to go on. I'm gonna be on a virtual meeting with my child's school board. They're gonna be talking about whatever special group that probably out there committing fraud and not doing their job. So I'm just playing. It's gonna be a 2 hour meeting. It's gonna be virtual. I can do it on my phone. So you know I will be attending that meeting. I'm gonna be heavily involved in these meetings and board meetings because all my children are becoming young adults, preteens, you know, so it got to be me heavily involved as a father and as a father figure of my family, and you know, just being an example of what we need to be doing, especially if we're gonna put our kids back into public school and back into the school after the COVID, you know, hoax and whatever they were doing with that. So we're gonna go right into it. I didn't like playing because I was actually finishing up the, you know, some more of the draft. I'm gonna be breaking down the draft. And I'm going to be speaking on the NBA playoffs as well. So we're going to try to be quick on this, you know, political set. I spent like 20 minutes on them. I'm only, you know, it's not going to be it's not going to be as much as it was yesterday. So hopefully I can get out in an hour. So we're just going to go through, I'm going to look through them. I haven't looked, it's so many. So, you know, work with me and then, you know, do your own research. I would suggest you do your own research. So you know, you don't be like, oh, he gave me this and da, 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 da. This is literally from the direct page. So now I like to break down wording. Like I like when they be like, you know, when nobody do the real research, they just like he signed the order on TNN and Fox, and they all blah blah blah. They all spewing all that propaganda and not looking into what he said and what he actually do. I just want people to understand: do not let your politicians in your local areas go in there and just willy-nilly just say, oh, sign this and push this through in legislation, and it'd be messing us up for 100 years and pushing us back and causing so much mayhem in different continents and different countries. And you know, just be mindful of what's really going on. So that's all it is. Just, you know, being, you know, just having us, you know, be mindful. Now I'm looking through, trying to I'm trying to see what I want to say. Okay, I'm gonna read this one out, and I'm just put it in the air, put it in the atmosphere, because I know some of the stuff has been signed April, and you know, I don't know if it's gonna be public. You know, like how I'm reading it is like some of this stuff probably didn't even go through. So I'm gonna make sure I get one that they still trying to get to go through. How about that? um. Okay, and this is 7 pages. This is 7 pages of information. So it says restoring America's maritime dominance. Now, okay, I don't know. I'm pretty okay. I feel like America is like they put in like the limbo, like of trying to look nice and be mean and trying not to be stepped on and all the stuff, all the rhetoric and all that stuff that comes out. I don't mind. I would never want to be a part of a country that's weak. That's all I can say. So, or a country, but I do not want to be a part of false and like fake and like just made up. Like I don't want to be on that trail of this deceit. You know what I'm saying? So I look at like I'm gonna read it one more time. So I'm gonna do my own research on my own time. Restoring America's maritime. What does maritime mean? And dominance means just having complete control. So that's what dominance and you know, just like what we trying to bring it. I feel like so much stuff that he puts in these executive orders or how he spits when he's speaking to the masses, it's like we have to go back to like slavery. Like this is the whole or division. Like it's no togetherness. It's no putting the right people that are the strongest in position to win. Like, if you want to win, you have to put people in position that are strong, that are have the ability to actually do these things. Like, you can't just say it. You gotta like, here, put this guy there. Like I was saying yesterday. So okay, that's enough. That's all I'm saying. So this, like, that is the executive order that was signed in or brought to him, published in April 15th, on April 15th, which is last month, 3 weeks ago. So it said it was published on that day. So I don't know if he signed it April 9th, published. So some of these might have actually went through. So I have to do my research. I don't even know what that means. Like, I gotta really do research on this stuff. So I'm looking like, are they actually putting this stuff through legislation? Like, is it gonna be time? Like, what does that mean? Why are we? What does that mean? Like, I don't get it. Let's go through another one. I'm trying to make it quick today. I'm shortening it up. I might just do 3 of them. I remember the TikTok one. That's crazy. Okay. It says making the District of Columbia safe and beautiful. That was an executive order that was signed on March 27th and published April 3rd. Now, when I see stuff like that, it's like, so what about, my bad, what about the other, what about the other capitals in other states? You don't want them to be safe and beautiful. And it comes with the division part of like, that's very like, how much money are y'all spending on that to make it safe and beautiful? That could be like billions of dollars that they stole. Like, so I'm just looking at these stuff like, that's a little up in the air. That's very small portion of the, that's like this little, and it's a bunch of blood sickers and, you know, weirdos hanging around over there that need to be extinct and kicked out of office already. So I don't know what they over there doing, but they ain't doing that great of a job when it comes to helping people who really need it. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. Anywho, oh, I like this one. Protecting America's bank. Protecting America's bank account against fraud, waste, and abuse. This is going to be something that I really dig down, and I'm going to reiterate. I'm going to come back with the just like now. I got okay. People don't believe me. Okay, I've had 4 of my income taxes that I worked hard for not even be allowed in my pocket. Like, I have not received my money from the government. I don't, these people have literally closed my banks out for pettiness. And I'm talking, I'll be in school, I be, you know, I'm working like day labor. I'm like, I'm not doing nothing like crazy. I'm not trying to be like out here, you know, I'm way past teenage stage and college stage of doing thinking any sideways against the bank or fraud. Like, you know, it's not even a thought really no more. So I'm looking at it like, dang, I need to really elevate my status as far as saving and banking. So I'm looking at it like, this junk is crazy. Like, they're allowing this from, they call it third. You see, they got the third party and all this for the schools, and it's just so much side talk and double talk, and I don't really like it. Hopefully that one right there is actually something that they actually working on. With so much going on with these banks, I don't like the fact that they just now, you know, in 2025, it's so much going on. I really want to speak on. Hopefully, like when I get the details, I can really speak on it, because I'm not going to speak on nothing. But it says fraud, waste, and abuse. So all the people who are frauds and wasting and stealing and abusing the banks. I hope that you are made aware that they're trying to change, and you hopefully you stop without them doing too much and without people getting snitched and going to jail or whatever it may be. And it could be what is actually probably gonna get pushed through as legislation. So I'm just here for the information to let you know. But I really like if people, I know how to go. Like they haven't paid me my money, my petty dollar that I earned. So like I'm with whoever with me, like whoever trying to give me my money that I earned. And I ain't, what I'm saying? I have been really nice about it because like y'all know y'all got, people do taxes and they claim their child. Me and my person that I have my child with are not together. So I did not mind her claiming her on taxes and stuff like that. So last year I was like fed up. So I was like, I don't know what kind of foo-foo, voodoo, hoodoo government fake takeover. They ain't taking mine, you know what I'm saying? They ain't shadowing shit. Like it ain't nothing. They ain't going down. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't gonna never happen. So, I had to kick it into another gear, and I'm still finna kick it into another gear. I'm finna kick it to a gear they don't know about, and I'm gonna kick it into a gear till they understand that I ain't playing with them. So that's all it for me when it comes to political day. I don't want to get too much in it. I'll cut it short 5 minutes today, so we're gonna move along. Back to what I was saying. Tonight I'm on there. Next week I probably gonna go to the school board down there in Palm Beach to kick them in their throat for lying and being treason on real people that wants to help the community. So, and hopefully somebody get I can get to these places. I told y'all what happened with the people messing with me about just getting the information so I could coach, but it's gonna get handled by the end of the week. I ain't in no rush, and that's pretty much it. Now, on the lighter note, let's get back into the playoffs. I haven't watched. I'm probably gonna watch the game tonight. The night the Knicks play the Celtics, and the Knicks stole game 1 at the Celtics, and this is a 2-3 matchup. I'm looking at it like this. The Celtics won last year. They have 2 young superstars in Jaylen Brown, and I forgot his name. My memory. Sorry for not remember. Jason Tatum. Sorry, they got 2 young superstars on the team. I think it's clear. Like they always had an issue when it was like they've been going to the conference championships and conference finals back to back in the East since they've been young. They have not been the kind of players to not be winning. So I think they are like the upper echelon of the NBA already. Like they've been pretty consistent, and like I said, when they won, that was like a hump. So with them getting upset, I actually like the Knicks team a lot. Karl-Anthony Towns was a top 3 pick when he got drafted by the Timberwolves. Brunson's been playing great. He hit a game winner, came back. They was down 20 in the game. I think they cannot go to sleep like they did. They already passed that hump of like being inconsistent. So they need to just step it up. They should probably win this, being at home, being that they was up 20 last game. I think they're gonna win the game and be 1-1 at the end of the night. So that's it for the Knicks and the Celtics. My prediction is that the Celtics gonna win. They should win. I ain't gonna give you points because I ain't finna go there on my podcast. It's way more serious than sports. I just know what it is on the sports. So they should win. They shouldn't have no problem, taking that game. Now the other game, Denver versus OKC. Now, like I said, I tried my best to watch the playoffs, and I didn't feel like watching the other 2 nights. It's like I said, it's other stuff on my mind, far as family, far as like getting stuff. It's so much going on in the real world that we can't let go of it. Because once this guy leaves office, we gotta be ready. That's when you're gonna see the effects of whatever he's doing, and him just trying to set himself up for success after he gets out. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm gonna be successful when he leave, when he does, when not. It don't matter. So that's what I'm just trying to say. sorry for me not watching the games, but I just catch the get the numbers and get the final score. And I watched enough of their games to know what kind of happened, what didn't happen. Now, what it seems like, the Thunder did not win, the Denver won. The Denver came off 2 nights, they just had finished playing a very tough game. They was hot. They was still hot coming in. The Thunder had like a week and a half off when they swept the team, and they just, they lost by a point or two. And I don't think the Thunder is not better than Denver. I think it's by an even match. Hopefully they make adjustments. Hopefully they prepared. Hopefully, just come out making more shots or playing better defense because they are the number 1 seed. But Denver's so, Jokic and Westbrook are former MVPs. SGA is the reigning MVP because he's going to win this year. And, they got a young team. So it's just like one of those who's going to take the bread and go move on to the Western Conference Finals. Now, also last night, the T-Wolves was on the same type of predicament. The Golden State had a 7-game series. The T-Wolves was off for a couple of days. They won in 5 versus the Lakers, so they had about 4 or 5 days off to a week. I don't know how many days it was. It was just one of those situations. They lost by like 11 points. So it was they didn't play well at all. They were very cold. They only scored 88 points. They cannot score 88 points against Golden State. But unfortunately, Golden State Steph did sustain a hamstring. He probably gonna fight through it and play, but he might not be at 100%. So we're gonna have to wait and see how he plays, if he's able to suit up, because he did in the game. He did not. Those are serious. Those could be 2 weeks, so he might miss the. He might fight through it. He might come back. Hopefully, they're not weakened so much so the series won't be evenly, that competitiveness and having their captain injured like that is very serious. So we're gonna have to wait to see when the next game and see how they respond. And the same thing, like the Pacers, it was a very exciting game. I didn't even watch. I watched the end of the highlights, and when Halliburton hit the game winning 3 when they were down 2, and that was exciting. They just stole 2 games in Cleveland. They going back home. They in the driver's seat to make the Eastern Conference Finals. And this is one of the teams that they started off very like they didn't start off like they did, the year before, and the previous 2 years. They was pretty, in the beginning of the season they had issues on defense and all that stuff and getting their rotation right. But I'm a big fan of their head coach. I think he's been around that long. And we got to wait to see. They up to Cavs. I don't think their coaching is not good at all. I don't like their head coach. The actual scheme that he runs and the play calling and the type of players he have, they're not in a disadvantage. They need to, stick to defense, actually establish the post, slow the game down a little bit. Donovan Mitchell is okay, and I think he's a defensive liability for sure in pick and roll. But you also got Allen and you got Mobley, and Mobley should be the focal point of the just like David Robinson, Tim Duncan. I already spoke on this before. If you listen to me speak about these guys, they need to be the focal point. I don't know how somebody who shoots 70 to 60% every game is not getting enough touches in the ball, and that's Jared Allen. And then Mobley, he hits threes from the corner to the high wing, and I'm looking at it like he hits threes at a 40% range almost, and he needs to get in the pick and roll with him. And Donovan Mitchell need to be in the corner sometimes, and they need to run. Just switch it up. Like how they be standing around is so aggravating, and him be jacking up, dribbling all 15 seconds, wasting time. And then they missing one of Garland's. He was hurt the first game. I don't know if he got back in the second game. They missing a very key component, and he does a better job of running the offense than Donovan Mitchell do. To me, just for me watching it as a coach, I don't see him. I see him playing a little bit better at the point guard than him because he gets everybody organized a little bit better. So we're gonna have to see what it's gonna be, and that's pretty much it for basketball. I know y'all, I be what do you call it? I be neglecting basketball, but I really do love basketball. I'm a big fan. I did not get to play like high school, but I definitely played a lot, and I still like to shoot. I still like to go out there and beat people one-on-ones we get a full game. I like to step out there and beat people, and you know, it's always love for the NBA, and it's always love for just basketball. Period. So it is what it is. Ain't what it ain't. So that's it for that. Now let's go right on into the breakdown of the NFL draft that was happening. Okay, I'm probably a little late, but I'm actually very good at breaking it down. So I'm gonna give you my expert analysis of the players that were drafted, and you know, it ain't gonna be every single player, but it's gonna be a grade. And I'm gonna, you know, I look at everything, I see who they pick, what their needs is, and you know, I can't be official till they pay me, so I'm gonna try not to speak NFL, NBA because I want no problems. I actually want my stuff to get out there to the real, you know, just for you know, just to at least for people to like have an honest opinion on what they seeing and watching every Sunday and every week and day that the game is. Sorry, I have not been talking about baseball or NHL. I actually enjoy those sports as well. I just don't get to watch them a lot. I'm one of those people that don't have a TV or cable. I bet, and you know, I don't really the way the entertainment and the way the world is like a imbalance. Like we got a bunch of like high level stuff going on around the world besides sports. Got a bunch of like when I'm telling you the craziest the one that got over people's head is when the French people came and talked. It was like a debate. It wasn't even like it wasn't no joke when he came. And like I'll be looking at he's like, we got 30 countries behind us, and we over here like we're United States. Put a tariff over here and put a tariff over here and you know what I'm saying? So I'm looking like, y'all ain't see that? I did. And it's like and Canada came and visit us, and I'm like, we just put a tariff on these people. Are we patching it up? Like that's why I be looking at like that's what we be. That's why I can't get into like every little sport. I'm a big fan of these other. You know, I played these my whole life. I'm a fan of baseball for sure. I studied the game enough. I coached softball for a year. You know, I'm probably get back into that if you know I have some more. You know, a girl or two. My daughter didn't want to play, but if she decided to play in middle school, high school, I definitely want to be a part of that. So it's just all that good stuff. So hey, let's get back into it though, man. This today I'm gonna break down. Okay, I didn't get to do the Steelers yesterday for the AFC what it was AFC North. Sorry, AFC North. I'm gonna break down them. Then I'm gonna go and break down the NFC East and the AFC East. And you know, I look at it like this, man. Just like look at it like I'm just, you know, I'm just having fun with it. You know, just what I see on film, and you know, I'm one of them coaches that I'm more of like I take notes. So when I watch the game and I watch the film, and whoever drawing up the scouting report for the week, I'm gonna get the assignments done for my positions. I could do all three levels. So whatever the coaching staff that I'm on, I do what I'm supposed to do. And my players are always probably the best trained and best coach every year. So I don't. That's what I hold my hat on. You can't have a good team unless you got a good staff, and I always been one of the top people on that in that realm. So respect my opinions, and I respect yours if they valuable or have some kind of like girth behind them. So we're gonna go right to the Steelers. I think the Steelers with their second round pick, they chose running back Caleb Johnson. I really like this back. He had speed, power, and vision. I definitely think he fits the scheme of the Steelers. Um, the only thing I could say is for him to be able to get on the field early, they got a running back. They drafted him first overall. He's been in there about 5-6 years. I think he has not panned out the way they wanted him to. So I think this is a similar style back, but he might be a little bit faster, might have a little bit better vision of hitting the holes. That's what I think this is what I won't call him a replacement. He could probably be depending on how coach feeling. I don't like the fact that they didn't get no wide receivers. They probably they got some old linemen, so I don't mind that. I think they do a good job of coaching and coaching that position and drafting in that position. So, just like the running back they picked was, that's the best pick for me. So that's why I gave you just what I could say for him. Just make sure he's able to show that he could block and be a 3-down back. if they trying to make the switch to making a new person, the starter. And that's pretty much it. Now, with they first round pick, and that's why I told you about the running back first. He got picked in the second round, but with the first round pick, they chose defensive tackle Derek Harmon. He showed the ability to destroy blocks and shed blockers, and he has strong hands. He's big, he's powerful, he got fast twitch. Just like you gotta he might gotta put it together, and that's what I seen on film, just him putting it together consistently. But he showed all those abilities, and I look at it like he's just like a raw athlete, he coached up more, and I think that's what Pittsburgh pride themselves is like. Can you actually be great? And if you come into our program, can you go into the level of putting it all together and being a starter or being a key role player or being able to make plays in key situations where we ask you to? But they didn't have a lot of draft picks, or they didn't get a lot of they have a lot of needs still that they didn't they couldn't address every need, and they just got rid of their wide receiver that they picked a few years ago that actually to me panned out. I won't say he was like he was their number one last year, but he dropped a couple times. He probably lacked a little bit of just paying attention, and they traded him to the Cowboys, which I will speak on when I go through the NFC East. And that was a key move. That was just like getting another guy from the draft who's the wide receiver? What's the wide receiver group and the quarterback room look like in Steelers? I look at it like I give them a C- grade, and I'm not that happy about them trading Pickens away. I think he would have panned out, but he probably had some kind of issues with a coach or just the organization or him getting paid when it's time for him to get paid in a year or two, because he was not picked in the first round. So he probably got his payday. He probably went to them like, I produced at the number one rate, and they was like, we ain't paying you yet, so you gotta wait your turn. And people got families, people got they being, when you're in a program or organization like the Steelers, you have to be disciplined. So he's like, man, they ain't even trying to pay me what I'm being, it's being a young guy. He probably 24, 25 now. And he like, man, they ain't even trying to pay me. I'm up here, I can't even have fun like I want to. I need to get paid. I'm out here balling like the number one guy. So he going to Dallas. I know Jerry Jones, Texas is Texas. He gonna pay. He gonna make sure you straight, even if you ain't getting paid top dollar. So, him going over there, they gave up a third round next year and a fifth round the following year. The Cowboys did just to get him. So, yep. So that's gonna go right into that was a team that I didn't get to, and we're gonna go right into the NFC East with the Cowboys. With the first round pick, they chose Tyler Booker, the guard from Alabama. I really like what I've seen from him, especially in his pass protection techniques. He did a great job of just stepping hard inside and coming off on a blitz protection. He was, he very powerful, low center of gravity. Then, his hips were very fluid. So when he was time for him to make a adjustment, he did it on the fly. And you teach that stuff in your individual time, and over time, if he can stay consistent and him growing up to be a grown man and being able to play with that type of mobility at that guard position, that is like high level. So I think that was a great pick. I didn't see it was a couple more guards that had that ability, so I will speak on the one that got picked. And I liked it. I liked it. He got to the next level in his blocking the run game and in the screen pass game. So he could do it all. He just gotta, when you get to the level of NFL, you gotta like have a 90 percentile of, especially on O-line, to be considered a Hall of Fame potential type of player. So they ain't got no room for error when you get picked that high, and you got to come in with that mindset that I can't mess up. I got to protect the franchise quarterback. I got a lot going on. I got to create holes for this superstar running back, and Dallas is in that realm of like they transitioning in their running back position. So, that goes right into the 5th-round pick. They picked the running back Jaden Blue, from Texas, and he was at Texas. They probably seen every game he played, or a lot of the games he played, especially the scout stats from Dallas. And I thought he showed the ability to the vision. He actually had a very similar game to Zeke. So I know Zeke. I don't know if he's still there. He might be a free agent. I think it was a 1-year deal. He came back, but just like I like the NFL is not really about the name on the back when you're on a team like that. It's about the type of style you want to run, the type of player you want to have. And I think they seen like a young Zeke coming out, when he was coming out of Ohio State, and he probably worked with Zeke just being in Texas and him coming back and all that good stuff, So it's probably one of those situations, and that's how Dallas Cowboys are ran. And hopefully, he gets there and he's able to come on right away, because a lot of the league doesn't draft their running backs early. I think even like with Genty, he was a little bit of a reach. He was picked 6. I'm not saying he's not that good, but it's like that many running backs that's probably on the same type of level as him. So, and he one of them guys that probably was like, we could wait till the 4th, 5th round to get him, and he ended up getting him in the 5th round. He didn't show, I don't think he had that many weaknesses. He just got to show that he could block on 3rd down and be consistent in catching the ball out of the backfield. That's what separates you in the NFL. Just picking up the block schemes and being tough enough to pick up the block schemes, because these guys are 6'5", running 4.3s, 4.4s, and y'all see how many linemen and edge rushers they pick. This past draft is only getting better and bigger, so it is what it's gonna be. Overall, they address, the key needs. The past 2 years, I give them an overall grade of a B plus. Like I said, they got George Pickens, so that's why I didn't do another guy. But that was a plus. Those 3 helping their quarterback, and coming off a lot of injuries. I think he should be healthy, and they got him some O-line help. I think they drafted a couple more linemen. They probably want to invite a couple more linemen into camp. So I get them a B plus for their grade. With the Giants, with pick number 3, 1st round, they picked Abdul Carter, edge rush for Penn State. I think it was a solid pick. I definitely think they needed to add depth to their front 7 on defense. On film, he showed the ability to be explosive as a pass rusher and to drop into coverage. He might need to improve on his strength that I've seen, because the linemen in the next and in the league are strong. So overall, it's a pretty solid. I wasn't that high on him as like with him using his hand placement. You got to be able to destroy blocks. He might be more of just an outside edge rusher and just a pass. Going. He still could play 3 downs if he consistently stops the run, but just like he got to show that in the pros, and he's gonna be doing a good job, because he's gonna he's naturally gonna be able to play that read option type of quarterback because of the speed and his his abilities on the edge. So we're gonna have to see. I don't think it was a bad. People want to compare him to Parsons. That was a teammate of his. Probably brought him in as a freshman when he was probably coming in, and Parsons was probably leaving, and they gave him saying, how that they sell that jersey and they sell that play and that player. So that's what I see what's going on with that. With the sleeper pick for the Giants in the 7th round, they picked tight end Thomas Fidone from Nebraska. Now, on film, I actually like, he had the size. I think he showed the ability to run routes and get open. He could develop into a true red. This is me speaking on him for what I see on film. He could be a true red zone threat. The only thing I could say is like he need to develop. He probably need to develop being a. He got the size, but he had to show that he could be an inline blocker consistently in the professional level to be considered those capacity of a great tight end. And he doesn't have the elite speed that some of these other guys that have his size. So if he could put the blocking, he got enough speed and he does run good routes. So he just gotta be consistent on blocking so he can get on the field and he don't just become like a crash dummy on scout team or special teams, and he can make the team because he is getting picked in the 7th round. So I think that was a sleeper pick. So I give the Giants a B- grade. Like I said, they did okay. They did like some of them guys could really pan out, but they haven't drafted well the last 2 or 3 years, in my opinion. They didn't pick the best player available at 3, and they had the 3rd over. They went up to get him, and they traded from 3 to 5. They had the 5th, whatever it was. With it, they Giants. You just got to prove a little bit better. We're gonna have to wait to see. You need a quarterback. You need a they got a running back. They need some wide receivers probably. And we just got to see. That's it for the Giants. The third team was the Eagles in the NFC East, correction. The pick that I like the most was the second round pick, the safety from Texas, Andrew Mukba. I don't know how to, sorry if I pronounced your last name wrong. But don't beat me up for it. He showed the ability to be, a true free safety from, just from me, just like, and being that they didn't, what I seen, he played zone excellent and, great. And he showed the ability to be just a solid free safety and be around the ball. He got soft hands. He played very well. He played the alley, so he know how to play the alley from afar. Make tackles in space in the run game, and I didn't see too many weaknesses. He might need to show that he could prove that he could play one-on-one against slots and tight ends. Because at the next level, a lot of times they, when they check, they come out double tight. Then they go into like 4 wides, and you got to be able to, if you're in a man zone when you're thinking it's double tight to a running back, just you got to be able to play one-on-one against those big tight ends. So he just got to show that he can play against that type of player in the next level, and he probably be a day one starter, or if not, definitely a rotational player on nickel and dime, just coming in and him getting picked. Like, he just got to show that he could do what he did in college. And I think a lot of these safeties come in with the knowledge of the game and the abilities, and so it's all about how you take advantage of your opportunities. Now, with the 5th round pick, they selected Smalley Mundon. Now, like I said, I both of them guys got different kind of names, but hopefully I didn't mess it up too bad. I really think that he's a true inside linebacker. He's going to get over. He probably got overlooked. The league overlooks a lot of these inside linebackers. I don't know why they have something against inside linebackers, because it's very rare, and we have not seen too many guys make it to like the Hall of Fame since like the 90s and the 80s and the 70s. They was rolling them out, you know what I'm saying? But they try to take a lot of that hitting hard, how you explosively hitting, and they trying to get a little bit more finesse. These linebackers, there's a lot of pass game. They're just trying to take the physicality out of NFL and out of football, period. So a lot of these guys that get picked in the 5th round, they be 1st round, 2nd round type of abilities. I would tell them to try to like expand their game so they on the field a little bit more, play inside and outside. A lot of these guys are, have the built to play both, and they have the speed to play both. So he's one of these players that I feel like they could come in. They got the quickness to make tackles inside and in the open field, the ability to cover running backs and tight ends, and be just be an overall good pro. And actually Eagles, they never draft bad to me, so I'm giving them an A+ again. And, they drafted some great players later in the round. They drafted a solid player, in the first 2 rounds. They didn't mess up what they have. And did the Eagles win or did the Eagles won. Well, who was I saying? That was in basketball I was talking about. So, yeah, the Eagles won last year, so hey, the Eagles won. Yeah, football season coming back. My team didn't win, but yeah, they added a great player to the championship team. So and they kept adding on to their the defense that's already considered great, in my opinion. That they up front seven, and that's all. The 14 was Washington for the NFC East. With the first round pick, they picked the left tackle for Josh Coolery. I think that's how you said Coolery, from Oregon. I felt like this got drafted. I think I didn't like that he got picked it late in the round, and that's what I mean by the Washington got very lucky with their young quarterback, with the type of style that they're going to be running with the runs. He is going to be. He has the ability to definitely, with the quarterback he has, he could be a Hall of Fame left tackle with the scene they play, especially for the next 4 or 5 years. He gonna be getting to the next level all the time with the type of block schemes. Even with the running, even if they hand it off, he gonna be getting to these back. He gonna be getting pancake blocks. He gonna be getting these double team down blocks. Like he could pull up however they running their power. It's going to be a lot that he's going to be doing. He just got to stay healthy, eat the correct things so he stay athletic and prolong his career. Because I seen on film the ability of him using his hand, the ability to shift his weight to lower shorter players and getting them hands inside, and just him being technically sound. Just keep up with your technique, keep up with you already learned and know, and you're gonna be great, and you're gonna have a successful career. Because I was high on you coming out of college. I didn't like how the other tackle was picked, the guards. I don't know what they would do. I would have moved you inside before I picked the sorry guard, or pick somebody that's standing straight up tall and looking goofy out there. I'm just saying, I'm high on that tackle. Washington got a great player. I see him playing at least 10 to 15 years, barring a major injury. That's pretty much it. In the 7th round, they picked a very explosive running back out of Arizona, Ja'Cory Crockery Merritt. The only thing with him is he has to stay healthy. I didn't see a lot of film like from last year, or he switched teams. You know how that goes, like get moved around. But I did see he popped off my screen. I did see a 3-down type of back. He catch the ball out of the field. He had the ability. He got great balance. He could run in between the tackles. He got the speed to run outside. And he finishes with authority on his runs. Definitely my super pick for Washington. Only thing I can say, just like a lot of these young guys, make sure y'all study them playbooks so y'all get the blocking scheme now, so you can get on the field and you can make the team and you can be an impact. I know it's a lot of politics when it comes to like they already got veterans and you coming in, but hopefully you make the team. They got a nice 2 or 3 running backs already on the roster in Washington. This guy fit the scheme, and it's never too bad to have a young guy coming in compete. So hopefully they actually take it in there like that. And he showed a lot of talent on film. Now, the sleeper for Washington for me was the 4th round pick. The wide receiver for Virginia Tech was Jalen Lane. This guy had, he seemed like he had the 4.3 type speed. He showed the ability and quickness to separate from anyone on film. What I think he needs to really do is, and to get on the field on the next level, is show his hands, that he can extend and catch the ball with his hands instead of with his body, because there's a lot of times you're going to be in traffic catching the ball at slot, and you got to go out there and grab the rock. So he got to, make sure you improve on these small skills when you get to the next level. Stuff you should have probably learned towards your end of your college career. You need to be, he might be a little, but he does have the speed. He does have that. He probably could play in the play on the special teams, all that stuff already. That's what it seemed like he probably like, I'm gonna get on the field regardless with my abilities. But just so you can stay on the field, just catch the ball with your hands, expanding, and timing and all that stuff. You got a great quarterback. He know how to throw the ball. He's very elusive. He's very, he's fast. All this stuff, be able to block downfield, make sure you gain a little weight and not lose your speed and quickness and all that stuff to stay a pro for several years. With a team like that, they made such a drastic change with him coming in as the quarterback, and it's already changed the atmosphere over there and the whole trajectory of that team has changed with the quarterback they have. And for my overall grade, I give Washington an A. They capitalized on what they did last year and could keep capital. I like what they did. I like the people who they added. It's gonna be, they added some people for their depth and their needs, and I don't think they lack talent. So yeah, I like what they did. I basically feel like that guy was a top 10 pick and they first round. They got him in 31 or something like that. So he should have probably went top 5 with the guy Mason Graham getting picked 5. I would have picked him over, just small stuff. I'd be looking. He was that talented to me. So hopefully, from what I see, I don't know what he did to not gain the respect, but I respect his game. All right. Now let's get to the AFC East. Let me try to get through this. I'm only gonna do 3 teams. I'm not gonna do the Jets today. I'm gonna save them for, I'm trying to get my timing down correct. I do not want to, people don't want to listen to my whole thing because it's so long, but I have a lot to say. So we're going to get to the AFC East. The Buffalo Bills, with the first round pick, they chose Maxwell Harston. He showed great quickness, very sound technique, real student of the game, the ability to play slot. And I look at it. I'm sorry. Let me say this correct. He played safety, so I didn't put the position he played. He was safety. And like I say, very sound. I didn't see too many weakness. I just think this is somebody who got to show that he could do it on the next level. He probably got to get his quickness up, like make the decision of like when you get to the next level, you got to show the ability to play at a high level every down, and you got to be able to change the trajectory of a whole team in a whole, franchise. So when you get picked at this position of authority like safety, they coming in expected to take place of somebody that was there, that's a veteran, and that's all it is. Just come in with that mindset that you got picked to replace somebody of very high nature in the community, on the team, that was well liked, that was this and that. So you just come in with that mindset and to learn the system, to be understanding, and that'll take you a lot. With the second round pick, they chose defensive tackle TJ Sanders. He showed on film he has the raw strength and ability to be like that top player, but he has to improve on his being technically sound. He has to work on not being lazy. Just like when I say lazy, like you standing up, making a play in the league, you standing up, your ass in the bleachers. You know what I'm saying? So I probably said this before, but when you have that raw ability, you think you like the hot guy. You at the highest level now. So unless you're going against a team that ain't got a good O-line, and that's very rare. I'll say 75 to 8% of the O-linemen they stay consistently on the field at all times, and they pretty sound, pretty solid units. And you got to be able to go out there and be, and really compete in a proper way and in technically sound way. So I see the talent. So just so you can be available all 3 downs, you want to be sound in that. Now with the 5th round pick, I believe this was the sleeper for me, is the tight end from Georgia Tech, Jackson Halls. On film, he showed the the same, to be very sound, execute every play. He doesn't make mistakes. He blocks. He does a good job catching the ball in traffic. The only thing I can see is he lacks the natural athletic ability, and he's a little slow-footed. So, but overall, I give the Bills a B grade. So, he just gotta, with that tight end, he gotta actually like work on his quickness, make sure he could block, stay on the field. He could probably make the team as a in the beginning as a special teams guy, but just those little small things, working on your quickness, your fast twitch, because tight ends usually have a 10 to 15 yard, 5 yard route, and a 10 yard is very deep in the tight end unless you run the seam or dig. So it all depends on what they got you doing, and the out routes, the slant routes. You go out there at the wing and go do a slant. You go out there and do a 5, 7 yard out. Just be sound in your technical, so means like you're technically sound. So just be that. Being consistent. When you go into the next level, do things properly. Now the second team is the Dolphins. With the first round pick, I think was a top 5 overall talent. I think it was a steal. They got him at 13th. Then they chose Kenneth Grant, the defensive tackle from Michigan. He really did pop off the screen to me. His size. He possesses a great motor. Just being that big, you might need to lose a few weight. Just like over time, you have that weight on you. You don't want to be lacking, 5, 6 years, and they start wearing on your joints. You got 17 games, not 10, and bowl game or championship game. It wears on you. You end up paying what? By 4 years, you're playing 70 to 80 games if you make the playoffs. So you got to make sure you monitor your body, and you still can keep your explosiveness. You still got natural man strength. You still gonna be in the gym. You still gonna be riding all the elite stuff over there that the Dolphins have to offer for you. So I can't speak on some stuff for the Dolphins. I appreciate the Dolphins. I've been in their stadium. I like the way it looked. I've been in the locker room. I appreciate the hospitality. I went there on my birthday one time. And, I had a good time, and there's very nice people over there. The hospitality is great over there. So they're gonna treat you with respect if you come in there and be a professional. So for sure, just make sure you go in there. I'm high on you because I'm a D-line coach at heart, so I like what I see from you on film. Now, with that being said, you destroy blocks, be consistent. I see you being a 10 to 15 year type of player and just bring that spirit that you had in college into the league. And that's all I can speak on is that. Now, with the 5th round, they chose with the 5th round, a very solid pick. They chose the 5th round was the safety for Maryland, Dante Trender. I hope I said that correct. He played sound plate. He played well on running the alley, and he played free safety. He identified routes, and making plays in the ball when the ball was in the air. He did a great job and was very consistent. He comes with the only thing I can say, when you play safety in the NFL, you get in a position where you're gonna have to play that lane with the running quarterbacks, or you got to come down and play running back out the backfield. You got to play that tight end. You got to be in a one-on-one position. So these are the things that the young safeties have to know that they coming in and do. They have to be able to consistently do that like they did in college. And these running backs are very high level. They be blocking, and then they come out on the when they got the check down. Just like you might be 15 yards deep in your back pedal, and this guy check down on the block. He out of there, wide open. Just be consistent. So just be solid. I see a lot of good that I seen went on your film for that guy from him. So now with the 6th round, now the steal for me, and just like it's so many people that look like they got like, I don't know what they did in college or what they did in a pre-draft, where they might didn't get invited to these they didn't know the right people to get invited to a meeting. But this guy got picked in the 6th round. I want to say Ollie guard. I don't know if I said that right, but the running back from Oklahoma State. Um, like I said, he had the size, the speed, and the ability to block and catch out of the backfield. Hopefully, he can do the same at the next level. Being that he didn't play high level, I probably would have hindered him a little bit. You know, when you don't win a lot of games in college, they look down on that. And just, make sure you can excel in those key moments. And yeah. Now, this is my last one of the day. I'm at the hour mark. I do not like being over an hour. I'm trying my best to cut it down. This is a special. Me breaking down the draft is very special. So mind me, I'm not gonna be doing this every day or every night. The WNBA is back. The Met Gala. I want to speak on some things before I end it. After I finish this last this third team, I got one more team that I from the but I seen, I actually want to speak on the WNBA real quick. I love how they're branding these players. These girls are popping up on your TikTok. They popping up on your ESPN news feed. They doing their summer leagues, their spring leagues. They're properly interviewing. They need to get paid a little bit more. But I think they got some. They got some stuff figured out with them. Getting taken care of. And they still female, so make sure y'all respecting the fact that they might still want to have children. And I'm all for that, and I respect all that stuff. So I want to speak on that. I haven't been watching a lot. I don't get to watch. Like I said, I'm not satisfied with how the world is being run and how certain people get left pushed aside on what's right. What I won't say right. It's not no real, no right or wrong, but moral, having moral, and don't be sweeping stuff under the rug. Don't think you're above people just because of the color of your skin. And if you want to go that route, certain people are not trying to be that way. They want to have, they want to actually go out there and earn their respect and earn their keep. So, we got to be mindful of these things. You don't need to be taking corners at this point of years in 2025. So, like I say, I'm proud of those WNBA players. I'm proud of the hustle that they have and them putting that league into another stratosphere with all the branding that they've been doing. They're getting their shoe deal, they're getting their, they're doing a lot. Like I said, I'm big on hip hop. I haven't really spoke on this stuff. Like I got a lot of serious stuff coming up this summer. My child's birthday, my birthday coming up the next year. Next month after that. And I don't really celebrate. I just be happy I reached another birthday. So it'd be funny. And just I just want to make sure I'm always gonna respect these Mother's Days coming up this weekend or Monday or something like that. So it's respect to all females, and I'm my family got a ton of them, and I got a child that's a female. So, and my sisters got children that are females, and I'm all for it. I had to make sure I speak on that before I get to, football out. And like I said, the way I'm gonna end it on that. I'm gonna get right back into the draft, and then I'm gonna end it for the day. With the third pick, and mind you, I don't have a consistent time or schedule. I don't mind people catching it. I really want to put it early in the mornings, but I'm trying to get some other stuff situated. I have not even got the platforms up that I wanted to get. Some other stuff came up, and that's like podcasts on Spotify, podcasts on. I don't know if Tidal will have one, but on Apple and Spotify for sure, and probably some other stuff that I could put it on. But this is gonna be double recorded, live on my phone. All that good stuff it's gonna happen. It's just time is time. I'm not trying to overdo it. I had to get this dropped out, and it's live, so it doesn't matter. People gonna go back, be able to go back and see it. YouTube is YouTube, so yeah, that's pretty much it. But with the third team, and like I said, I'm not doing the Jets today, but I'm going to do the Patriots. The third team that I'm going to break down is with the first round pick. They selected Will Campbell, left tackle from LSU. I was not a fan of him getting picked fourth overall. This was a reach. I would have traded I've probably seen 5 to 6 tackles better than him. He played high. He did not have his hand in the dirt. This is certain stuff that when you get to the elite level, as far as championship type teams. And this is the Patriots. Like the Patriots have what 7, 5, 6 championships, whatever they got from Tom Brady, 6 championships. And they got the former player. They fired the former player to hire another former player. I didn't like how that was done. He only had 1 year or two. What it was 1 or 2 years. Or, I think he did an intern. Whatever he did, that was I don't know what he got going on. Whatever. I ain't worried about it. I ain't really a Patriots fan. I wasn't a Patriots fan when they was winning. I didn't mind when Brady came and helped the Bucs win one. But it is what it is. At worst, he was to look. At best, he's a right tackle. At worst, he's like a guard. I would put him in a guard. Like that's how high he played, but he doesn't lack strength really. But he doesn't have great technique. He doesn't get to the next level on the blocking. He didn't, it didn't like stand out to me like, oh, this guy's the next who Tristan Wirfs. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't see that high level ability. Like I just seen like a body, a guy. So I don't know. I didn't see that much. When I say I studied tackle, offensive line, defensive line, I really have. And he didn't. To me, he got to show me a little bit more. Now, and the fact that they kept, I got to speak on it. They kept Drake May over Joe Milton, and traded him away. I didn't like that at all. I thought that was crazy. Cause I looked at how Drake May play. I seen how Joe Milton played in the preseason. I seen how Joe Milton ended last year for them. Like he should have definitely been in on this team. So I don't know what they got going on, what kind of takeover they got going on, but you want to actually have the best players on your team so you can compete for a championship. And you don't want to be dads. My dad knows the owner or my dad knows the general manager or whatever they got going on right now. They need to pick the best players on the team. They want to have a winning culture over there still. So, I know I've been around too long, so I just look at that's what it looked like to me. They ain't trying to pick the best player. They trying to pick somebody. They picking favoritism over here. So, but in the 4th round pick, they had, they chose Craig Woodson, safety from California. This was actually an excellent pick for me. He showed the ability to play downhill in the run game, very physical in the tackles. He, the ball when the ball's in the air, he did a good job of attacking the ball and just being aggressive. The only thing I see, how is he going to play in a 1-on-1 situation? These guys have to play against athletic, very superior tight ends now. So, and it'd be 2 tight ends that they could do it. They come off the bench 6'6", 260, blocking, doing their delayed block and getting into their routes, and they upfield in 2 seconds, and you got to be able to make them adjustments. And this guy, he got a good size to play. You just got to see if he didn't play on a team where they won a lot. So, a lot of times when you gave up a lot of passing, you got to, it might get blamed on the safety more than do the corners because you're the last line of defense. And I ain't saying you can't make a play in the tackle, but you got to make sure you're able to guard, able to stay in your zone correctly and properly. So I seen great ability. Hopefully you can continue that to the next level, and it's opportunity with a team that didn't win a lot of games last year to be a contributor. That's pretty much it. Now with the other 4th round pick, I think this was the sleeper for real, and it could blossom into a day 1 starter because like I said, it's a lot of change. I think it's gonna be an odd front. This guy could play 1 through 5 in the odd man front, so he gonna be able to come in and definitely be a contributor if he beats him out. The only thing I say, he was very strong. But last year he did not play on a good football team. He might have gotten overlooked. He has the size and talent to compete with anyone, but at the next level, but he has to change his attitude to a winning attitude and remember the basics. That's what I seen. Like he might get out. He might have somewhere down the line felt like they wasn't winning, so he lacked the technique and that's all it looked like it was. Just you gotta remain solid in what was being taught and what, because I know what kind of D linemen come from Florida State. These guys get trained like the NFL type of guys. So I don't know if they still have the defensive line coach that they've had for several years, but I've been in those coaches clinics over there. They got a pretty much routine. It's like a tradition. Whoever came in probably as a replacement that they was picked. And unless they done changed the whole, I don't know what they got over there, but you know, it was tradition over there. And they didn't. You had to get grandfathered in as a coach, especially as the assistant position. You might be the head man, but the assistants is like rooted in like some. This is how we won, and this is how it's gonna stay. So I don't know. Hopefully, they work that out over there for the state. That's all I can say. I'm trying to be like remain unbiased, but for the Patriots, I give them a B grade, and it was okay. It might could have been a C plus, C grade, but I'm giving them. I'm giving a B and being generous. But now I'm gonna do the Jets tomorrow. I thank y'all for appreciating. Remember, just be yourself. I thank y'all. And my name is Ira Bush. This is Dynasty the Show, the podcast show, and I appreciate y'all tuning in. And sorry, I'm a little bit over my time, but it's time limit I set for myself. But it's just I gotta trim it down so people stay interested and people want to tune in. They're not just thinking I'm just talking. This is a special week, and this is my first. I count 7 as like my first week, so I'm gonna get consistent with the dates and the times and all that. And like I said, I'm gonna be on virtual Broward. Don't be playing around like y'all know. I'm gonna be chiming in. I'm gonna be talking whenever y'all ask me a question. I'm gonna be there. But thank y'all for chiming in. I appreciate y'all. See y'all. I'm coming tomorrow. I'm gonna do one tomorrow for sure. Appreciate it.